Kia ora te whānau, tēnā koutou huri noa I te motu, ko te rāhui tēnei, tētahi o ngā ringa wera o Ngā Kura aiwi o Aotearoa. Ko tēnei kaupapa he whakatairanga I Ngā Ohu Ruruku, ko ngā rōpū nei, ko hangahia hei āwhina I ngā kaiako katoa o Ngā Kura aiwi katoa huri noa. Nō reira, I tēnei rangi, toko whā ngā Kairuruku, kua kuhu mai ki Wainganui I tēnei whakatairanga a tātou. Nō reira, tēnā koe, ko te tuatahi ko Ange. Kia ora e hoa, ka nui te mihi ki a koe. Koro mai.
Ka nui te mihi ki a koe hoki te rāhui. Nō reira, kia tātou katoa I tautoko ana te whakaaturanga tuatahi o tātou. He wai Māori e mōku, nō reira he wai Māori e mō tātou. No te aroa tēnei, he kaiako kei te wharikura o Mauao, ko au te Kairuruku o te kopaki Hākinakina me te hauora anō hoki mō Ngā Kura Tuatahi. Looking forward to sharing ideas with you and sharing resources with you and benefiting all our kura. So stay tuned.
Ka pai. Kia ora Ange, tēnā koe. Ko tētahi atu o ngā Kairuruku, ka hono mai I tēnei rangi, ko Greg Ford. Tēnā koe hoa, pehana koe?
Kia ora te rāhui. Tēnā koutou. Ko Greg Ford tōku ingoa, no Ngāti Raukawa. Engari, kei te mahi au e noho ana. Kei te kura kaupapa Māori o Ngāti Kahungunu o te Wairoa, ahau. I'm the Kairuruku mō Hangarau Matihiko, and I work basically with tamariki from year 2 or 3 up to wharekura.
Ka wai, tēnā koe. Kia ora atu. Ka hoki mai anō tātou ki a koe nei, Greg, hei whakamārama I tahi o ngā kōrero moto ohu. Hoi anō, ko te tangata ka hono mai, te whakamutunga o tēnei tira, ko Blanche. Tēnā koe, Blanche.
Tēnā koe te rahui. Kia ora koutou. Ko Blanche tōku ingoa no Ngāti Inia aho, no te Kura Tuatahi o Wairaka aho, kei tamaki makaro aho e noho ana. So I'm basically from India and I'm at Mount Albert Grammar School. My subject is chemistry, but I do teach the other sciences as well. And looking forward to catching up with all of you.
Ka pai. Kia ora, tēnā koe, Blanche. Okay, e te whānau, so what this is and what this kaupapa is all about right now is for our whānau, our kaiako from all of our kuraiwi schools to understand what is available in terms of kaiako support in each of these subject areas. So we're going to kick off with Ange. Ange, do you want to just explain to us why should a kaiako who's teaching Hākinakina and Kura Tuatahi join up with you and come and do some mahi with you for Hākinakina?
If you want to be a part of this waka, and I'm hoping that it's everybody in every kura under Ngā Kura a iwi. The 3 focused areas that I'm going to be sharing with a little bit about it with you are moderating, the learning passport known as Potama Ako, which was created at the middle of last year and now has been trialled at 2 kura, or has been trialled at 2 kura. And also, the most important is resources and how these can be utilised within your classroom. So if you really want to engage with me and get a more upbeat learning that allows parents, students and kaiako to, I suppose, know where they're at with their learning and understand what your child is learning, then you want to come in to listen to more or share more ideas with me.
Ka pai. Kia ora, Ange. That's right. So, Ange, one of the things that you talked about when we were preparing for this kōrero was about what you're seeing in kura tuarua and whare kura in terms of skills, and how some more mahi needs to be done with teaching fundamentals, right, for physical activity. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
So what we're seeing at the other end, so that's at when they leave Kura Tuatahi and come into Kura Tuarua or whare kura, is that some of the skills that that we once knew back in our days, it was like a given that we had them. But now that they're coming through now, I'm seeing that the kids don't really have those fundamental skills that, you know, like how to kick a ball, how to bat a ball, how to catch a ball, how to communicate effectively on and off the court or on and off the field. So those are the skills that we're seeing, the learning gaps, I suppose, that we're seeing coming through. Also, the knowledge of certain games. What I think is happening, or maybe happening, I'm not saying that it's happening in your kura, is that we tend to see PE as a place where we just chuck in a ball or chuck out a game and say, hey, this is the game we're playing, and expect our kids to know the game, and then that's PE. So we're sort of losing the purpose of what physical education or koritinana really is in regards to a child's learning. Henceforth, we developed this resource me ki, and it's called Potama Ako. It's called the Learning Passport. And what the Learning Passport does is it gives you a snapshot of the child's knowledge of a skill and the skills that they need to obtain in that learning path, or in that at that level, from kore all the way to tau tiko mātoru. And that learning passport can travel with them like a normal passport, hopefully to any kura, so that the teachers can see where they need to start with that child. It's, I suppose for some of us it sounds a bit like an individual learning plan. It is. That's what it is. So you don't need to teach what, I suppose you don't need to teach or focus on what they know or what the skill is, but you enhance those. But it gives you it pretty much identifies where you need to start with that learner.
Awesome. Ka pai, Ange. So if some of our kaiako want to come and join your ohu, so what we're going to do, e te whānau, after this is we'll put some links in the Facebook chat to get into Slack, and then you'll be able to talk to Ange one-on-one and join her ohu. So kia ora watu, Ange, thank you for that. Let's head over to you, Greg, in the great Kahunu Rohe, to talk about what Hangarau Matihiko looks like for your ohu.
Hangarau Matihiko, well, you know, we had a new curriculum come in a couple of years back, and I was involved in the PLD side of that. And really, I think a lot of teachers still coming to terms with it. But there's some simple things that we can do. So the first of my things that I would be offering is what we call unplugged activities. These are activities that don't even require a computer, but actually allow teachers to teach the fundamental concepts about how people interact with computers. One of them might be an exercise program where you repeat some part of that program several times, and in computer terms, that's a loop. So and these kind of activities are quite easy, I think, for teachers to pick up, but it's a matter of knowing where to look. So that's what I'm offering, is to help people out with these. I think, 15 to 20 minutes and learn a new activity, and take it back to your classroom for people, and this is basically for years 3 all the way up. So the second thing that I'm encouraging teachers to do is what we call the hour of code. There's a website, it's called code.org. It has been, many of the resources on there have been translated into te reo Māori. So for people working in immersion, this is an introduction to computer programming. It's basically a game. You can get tamariki working on it as early as 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. And they find it fun, and basically it covers most of the curriculum of the what they call it, whakarongo, the algorithms of computers that's required at Kura. And the third thing, of course, is that when we get into wharekura, we're starting to look at NCEA. I'm here to help anyone who wants to start unpacking, getting things moderated, particularly for using digital media, like creating video or something. There's a nice kind of fun, there's potential for a fun activity, a fun assessment activity, doing a project where kids just create a video or a 3D, whatever actually turns, whatever rocks their boat, they can. But then for us as kaiako, it's about how do we unpack that? How do they unpack that? What do we do for people to allow us to assess at NCEA level? Once again, I'll put links to these things on the Facebook page so that people can come and get involved with the Ohu Hangarau Matihiko on Slack.
Ka pai, ka mau te wehi, Greg. Thank you so much for that. So a lot of things can happen in the Hangarau Matihiko space. It's quite a broad subject. Would that be fair to say, Greg? Nō reira, e hea ki ngā momo kaupapa, ka uru ki tēnei o Hangarau Matihiko. And we were just sort of having a bit of a brainstorm, te whānau, about what Hangarau Matihiko, science and sport have in common. And probably technology could really do something here. So ka nui te mihi ki a koe, Greg. Kia koe, Blanche, let's talk about what science teachers or those kaiako who may not be science teachers who are teaching science, what they can learn from you.
Yes, definitely. From my Ohu, the science teachers or the non-science teachers can benefit. Since my goal for this year, basically, first is to support those teachers and also the teachers who are sole teachers in remote areas who probably don't have access to professional learning workshops or conferences. So to strengthen their teaching and learning, we have resources over here to support them, not only resources with regard to their teaching and also support in the delivery of science curriculum. Besides this, we also look at moderation. Again, as there are being a sole teacher in a school, it's hard to find a moderation buddy. Yeah, so to support those teachers who have difficulty in finding a co-teacher to moderate samples of student work. So I'm here to support with regard to that and also with regard to the assessment task. And also we are looking at understanding the new curriculum changes specifically for level 1 this year. And also the possible course design in 2024, keeping in mind to incorporate Mātauranga in our science curriculum. So these are the 3 areas we are going to look at this year. That's resources, moderation, and looking at the new science curriculum.
Ka mau te wehi, Blanche. That was short and snappy, ka pai. So one of the things, Blanche, for science is about engagement with our tamariki from a young age, so that we've got some aspiring scientists.
Yeah.
And so I think you should share what you're thinking about potential science fair.
Oh, yes, yeah. Just to ignite passion and curiosity amongst the students, we've decided to have a kind of science fair in the school. If everything goes well, we can have it face-to-face, or else we'll have it virtual.
So they're just to watch the space, e te whānau, and so
more information, and of course join our group.
He tika tahau. So e te whānau, if you want to join Blanche, if you're teaching science, ahakoa expert science teacher, ahakoa katahi anō koe kia whakapō tēnei marau, which is very real and very normal in our schools, that we've got all sorts of skills teaching science. So they can join your Slack group, your Ohu Ruruku, and we'll have the details in the chat. So e te whānau, that's just sort of a brief preview of the amazing things that are going on in each of these ohu. So back to our Kairuruku, is there any final things you want to share?
Oh, I do. Apart from the science fair, the last time that Ngā Kura iwi actually held a Hākinakina whakataitai, Hākinakina, was a few years ago. I'm thinking Te Rahu was still at Wharekura then. And the last school to hold it was Te Wharekura o Mauao. So the hope is that we have one next year. So this is the tono out to all our kura. And maybe instead of, we split it. So whakataitai for our juniors and a whakataitai for the seniors. So I'm looking really forward to talking about this big kaupapa with all our budding Hākinakina teachers. Aha ko kei roto kui te Kura Tuatahi, me te Kura Tuarua Wharekura. Let's get on board this waka and give something back to our kids that they really love. And for some of them, it's Hākinakina. So I'm looking forward to sharing all ideas, resources, everything with you, so that we can move he waka kotahi ko tātou. Kia ora.
Kia ora atu, Ange. Blanche, did you have one more thing to share?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say to all out to the teachers there, any support with regard to not only resources, with regard to experiments, simple experiments, which do not need any science, which do not need that elaborate equipment or the laboratory, some simple experiments which can be done in the class. If they need any support with that, all they have to do is just join our group. We just meet once a month. It wouldn't take much of their time. And if time is a constraint, they can always email me. Yeah. So
thank you very much. Kia ora, tēnā koutou, tokotoru tapu I tēnei pō. E te whānau, we're going to have another 3 Kairuruku join us in perhaps a week's time on a Tuesday night, tēnei pō tonu, and they'll be able to share what's going on in their ohu. But if you have some questions about the ohu kaupapa, Ohu Ruruku kaupapa, you can always contact me directly as well. Ma te Facebook, ma te Slack, ma taku imera rānei, and we'll put all those details in the bottom. So tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora rā te whānau. Hei kona.
Kia ora.
Hei kona.